Let's check where I've got it. Exhausted again today. Just the AI stuff. It's just when you're trying to do it in a specific way that you know that's major beneficial. There's a lot of work involved in it, and the one thing and you realize why people don't do it this specific way, because you got to keep getting it right, and it's not necessary. You got to put in a lot of safe blocks. But I realize now why people don't do it the way I do it, because you're really trying to get it to do things that it can do, but it's complicated to make it do things. And I think that appointment only for most businesses is just not going to work. The best so when people call up, they may want to know about the products and services you have. They're going to want to know about the what time you're open. They're going to want to know what products and services, things specific to your products and services. So they might want to know if you're a mortgage broker. They might want to know about it. Mortgage A, what does that mean? What credit card does it come with? And the current interest rate. Kind of publicly accessible information, but it may be difficult to find on websites, because all you have to do is look at some websites, and they're just way too complicated these days. All right, this way it's much easier. They just press a button, go straight. They go, okay, what time are you open? Okay, do you have a specialist for mortgages? Okay, so this latest mortgage, it's a 3% variable rate. Okay, 3.8% right now. Today it's 3.8% variable. Okay, but when it wants to ask for specific details, you've got to work into the AI agent. We'll just call it the agent. The agent that it can't dispense advice. It can only give general information from the website that's publicly accessible. When you're plugging into some of these other services, that none of them are based here in Australia as well, they don't have to follow those rules. So it becomes a little bit dangerous for some businesses when they go to these, just because they're $100 a month cheaper. It's really strange. Okay, let's turn the agent. Okay, you're saving $100, but you basically, in my agent, my setup, there's basically 4 agents working. And the reason I've done it this way is so that each agent is not under stress. It's just like employees. You don't hire somebody to run your whole company. You don't hire a CEO to be the chief financial officer, the chief operating officer, and then maybe the warehouse foreman as well. Each have their own specific job. And a lot of what's happening now in the industry is to get these prices down, to 300, anywhere from, $300 a month, is they're using one agent, not just to process your business website information or your calendar information, your booking and appointment information, but also other businesses. So this agent is like working 2 jobs at once. The way I do it is, I know that eventually that's going to break. because it's broken on me when I've tested it, and it will start to fumble. So what I did is, there's a receptionist who is one agent, and then they divert it to frequently asked questions, and that's one specific agent. And then there's, if people want to make a booking, there's actually two agents working that. There's one checking the calendar and there's one scheduling the calendar. Then there is then it gets transferred through to the end agent, and they summarize everything and say, is there any other questions? No? Okay, then it says thank you very much and hangs up, and you're all booked, you've got all the information you want, etc., etc. Now, this means that there's a total of 4 agents working for one business. It's reliable. But if I was to cut it down to just maybe 2 agents, I could save the business $50 a month. But I'm putting too much stress on onto each agent. I want mine to be calm, relaxed, cool, not worry. The other thing is, within the AI itself, everybody's heard of Google Gemini, probably heard of ChatGPT, they've probably heard of there's other models out there. There's Claude, there's a whole bunch of different, there's Grok, Twitter as well. This is another thing that I like to just mention quickly, is that some of these cost, we'll just say $5 an hour to run, but they can't process information well. But some of them, like the free versions of Google, do a fantastic job at answering questions. But if you started to ask it to do something extremely complicated, like manage a calendar, it starts to break down. So you have to go out and hire a better quality agent to do that, or AI agent to do that. And with a lot of the cheaper ones, they're using cheaper agents, which might only cost $5 an hour, but they're going to be missing out on details, and because they can't process everything. The one I like to do the equivalency, $5 an hour. The one I use is about $15 an hour most of the time. So I'm paying a lot more, but the quality I'm getting back is consistent, and that is what really matters. You see, the whole goal for the appointment setting, in my view, is right now in Australia, you paying minimum $40 an hour plus superannuation and holiday leave and sick leave and all that for an appointment booker, right? I would like it but we don't have to get rid of that person. What that person should be dealing with is maybe more important and time-consuming events, business business operations. But I'd like it to cost $10 an hour to have an appointment booker that is consistent and reliable and doesn't misinterpret information. It doesn't make the mistakes of the lower price AI, artificial intelligent agents that I can use, but I just don't want to use them because I keep noticing the mistakes they make. And I've just had to change over to different models. So I was using a rather expensive Google AI. It was probably the equivalent of $8 to $9 an hour to use it. But I noticed that it was making mistakes on a specific calendar entry type. So I had to go and hire ChatGPT. Now, not the version you get on ChatGPT.com. It's a different one. It's version 5, I think it is, 5.2. Now, this car went from $8 to $9 an hour to $18 an hour, but it's now reliable. But then you have to reprogram the Chat GPT to now do that function, because it's going to react differently than the Google Gemini did. Than the Google version. Okay, so it's a hyper complicated process to get the prompting right and the right artificial intelligence to do your job. So it's a very time consuming process, and if you simply just get some of these, there's a lot of salespeople in Australia now running Facebook ads that don't actually make the bots, but they've got another person on the line while they're making the call with you, who sort of programs in a quasi bot to run it while you're on the telephone, and it works well, but it's got a human backing it, constantly inputting information. But the problem is, when they put that together, they're using a lot of the lower price stuff, so you're going to be missing out. I would much rather quality over saving 10%, 15%. A really good example is a good figure to use now for my basic appointment app, AI bot. It's about $400 a month. But I've used the $300. I've tried it through somebody that got it, and I just quickly put 3 appointments in, and it just processed everybody at that same appointment time, which immediately I changed the bot for this person. I added it was a much more expensive AI bot, rewrote the prompt, working fine, but it now costs the same as my basic entry bot. But another issue is with it, the way it's been written is it's all clumped, so you just can't edit it. You have to rewrite the whole thing. And the problem is, when you try to contact the people to try to get these immediate edits and things, they can't do it because they're salespeople. They don't make them. And to actually speak to the people that make them, there can be a lot lost in translation. You don't want that. You do not, here in Australia, our language is very unique, our English, and a lot of things can be lost in translation. You just don't want that to happen too much. All right, let's see if there's parking here. Good, there's a parking spot and there's a person right there. Get in here. So yeah, you got to be really careful with this stuff, because unfortunately there's a lot of cowboys like everybody else in this industry. And that was well done, babe. So yeah, you guys got to be careful with a lot of these cowboy type. You know, they're everywhere now, and a lot of them, I don't think, spend a lot of time on actually reading up on AI. So they'll do things that I just don't think can work long time. Anyway, good people, I'm going to the gym. So that should be fun. Got to stay fit and strong. All right, I'll speak to you later. Bye for now.